James,
Yeah.
some people told me Jay-Z is not a stadium artist. Jay-Z's not this.
No, no, no. Can
Hove,
you can you restart the restart that, and then like between each pause you press the fa,
yeah,
please.
yeah.
I need more
So,
emphasis on this.
so the Jigga Man, Jay-Z, Hove, has announced a series of concerts to commemorate Reasonable Doubt, The Blueprint, and when both of those shows sold out, he announced a third one called Extra Innings. All at Yankee Stadium, the spot where the Yankees played, made the Yankee hat more famous than the Yankee did. All these people said Jay-Z wasn't no stadium artist. All these people that swore that this was some guy with this this awful argument of saying, what about this year? There's this rapper bigger than him. This year he was never the man. All that shit is stupid. Every day a star is born, James. They come, they go. The only thing that lasts is the Jigga Man. They said he was Beyonce's husband only. They said they were writing fan fiction about LeBron James being with Beyonce because they hate that man's guts. What is wrong with them? They think Rock Nation owns the world. They think there's conspiracies to keep the Jigga Man on top. Not 5 classic albums. Not Reasonable Doubt. Not In My Lifetime. Not Hard Knock Life. Not The Blueprint. Not The Dynasty. Not The Black Album. What is wrong with them? The greatest rapper of all time. They think he's the Illuminati.
No, they think Rock Nation is Illuminati, and yeah, it's been they've been doing it since like the late 2000s. This Illuminati shit. It's man. This is very satisfying. Jay-Z's one of my 3 favorite rappers of all time. Depending on the day, whoever I heard last, it's either Jay-Z, Biggie, or T.I. for me, right? And for years, I've had to deal with, as we talk about, the internet's not real life. Social media is not real life. And I've had to deal with this from just anecdotally, like from hearing when I was in high school, that people were tired of Jay-Z because no one had ever been like on a run that long in rap. When you hear people, I think for younger people, when they hear people to compare rap to sports, they think it's kind of ridiculous because it's like, what do you mean? If you rap, you just continue rapping, right? But it was very youth based. And Jay-Z's Reasonable Doubt came out at a time when he was already older, right? He's older than Nas. Nas came out 2 years before Reasonable Doubt, with Illmatic, right? So locally in New York, people are already kind of like, I ain't really, he may have had a classic, but like I remember him when he had a different flow, and that flow was Buns, right? And now he switched up to Mafioso thing, and it's like, oh, he's biting off big, right? And then, there's the power vacuum of Biggie dying, and then everybody, Nas and Jay-Z and everybody else coming forward, trying to
King of New York.
reach King of New York and fill that power vacuum, right? And at the end of it, whether it was Nas or Jay-Z or DMX, ultimately at the end of it, the person that won was Jay-Z. And out of those three, if you ask me who was the most skilled rapper out of all those three, my answer is Nas. If you tell me who was the one that set the party off and had the biggest hits at that time, the answer for me would be DMX. So I kind of get why people were looking at it like, that's the guy that But yeah, that's the guy. He's the one that actually found a balance between both.
He's the one with the albums like that just never stop being dope.
Right. He's the one that can get that maybe for every time DMX makes a party up, he can make I Just Want to Love You. And then for every time Nas makes a The World Is Yours, you know, he can make a song cry. Or he can make
Dead Presidents.
Literally Dead Presidents. Right?
Or he can make Dead Presidents 2.
Yeah. Well, I'm not going. You're going to get me going on another tangent or whatever else. I'm not going to get into that. But Dead Presidents 1 over 2 forever, just like Who You With number one over 2 forever too, or as well. So for me, to get to that point, and to see he lasted long, I would hear people down here in Florida and they'd be like, "Get him out of here. We're sick of him." Like, this is like 2000. This is before Black Album, so this is like 2002, and they're like, "Get him out of here. I'm sick of him." It's 2002. You're sick of him for being on a 6-year run? What are we talking about? So it was just interesting to hear this, and I'm not talking about just Southerners. I'm not doing that. I'm talking people.
Oh, like, that you want to talk about that whole thing where the entire South hates Jay-Z? Like,
that's nonsense.
Like,
that's nonsense. There is,
or the South don't fuck with Jay-Z. I'm like, you are lying. Like,
that's nonsense. And you want to know why? Because Jay-Z was one of the first up north rappers. I want you to hear me. Up north rappers. I'm not talking about the Midwest. I'm like Bone Thugs. I'm not talking about the West Coast like E40 or Tupac or Too Short. Right? They recognized like outside. This was a whole local game. Like, so I've always compared. You know, we always do a comparison to rap in wrestling. Rap was a brick and mortar game. It's before streaming is similar, is also like streaming for pro wrestling, where it's like, okay, it's like the territories. Literally, like the biggest market is New York City. So all of the tastemakers in this industry, all in New York City, all the gatekeepers in New York City, they're only putting on from any of the 5 boroughs, those people, right? And that's it, because that's all they know. They feel like they don't need to.
And they can't travel no further.
Find more rap because this is the birthplace of rap, right? Hip hop, it started out at the park, right? So that was literally like commercial rap. I'm not talking about KRS-One real hip hop and the MCing part. I'm talking about like commercial rap. So we're talking about like 15 years of this thing. And that's what the bit is, the ground game. So if you're in New York, that's all you need to check for, and that's all that matters. You'll get your MTV Rap, you'll get your BET, you'll get your radio. And everybody else that has a rap station or is playing black music in a local station, they playing the New York stuff and they playing their local stuff outside of that. Then, but outside of that, like outside of up north, you had all these different regions that were playing each other's music. So you go Memphis, Atlanta, Miami, California, LA or Oakland, Detroit, Cleveland. You had all these places making music and would work with each other. Up north didn't have to do that, so they didn't give a fuck about it. Jay-Z's one of the first guys to be like, hey,
like, I'll rap with Too Short. I'll fucking rap with Juvenile. I'll send him a verse on the house or whatever. It was trash, but yes, I'll do something with it. I'll work with UGK. I'll do some shit like that. Like, I don't know, man. Like,
but this is the thing that Jay-Z, because Jay-Z is we talked about this on Doc's podcast, right? Yeah. About like Dead Presidents as a first single to launch a rapper into stardom might be the truest mission statement for what this rapper stands for and what they will stand for and symbolize going forward, which is ruthless capitalism. But right here is via the drug trade. But he's a ruthless capitalist. He saw and recognized, hey, I used to try to allegedly I transported drugs from the South to back and forth from up here to the South, right? I also recognize that this is a black musical genre, and most black people live in the South. So where there are people that will buy these things, or people that will buy these records, or will taste make for eventually who ultimately does buy this stuff, white people, they're gonna need black people around them that's gonna play the music too, on the radio, in the cars, passing by, or whatever else, and maybe white people will then buy these things. Ultimately, I make good music, but I want to sell as many records as possible. And that was Jay-Z. Like,
I'm gonna expand.
Yeah, it was all about expanding. So you see, as you mentioned, Too Short stuff, the Juvenile stuff. There's he's worked with everybody.
Killer Mike,
Right,
Big Boy, fucking all
Right,
these
he's
people.
worked with
Giving
he's worked
people
with
album
everyone.
slots.
He's worked with everyone, literally everyone at this point, right? So, there was that. So from there was always that appreciation from Southern rap, from Southern rap fans, that hey, this guy is doing these things that other guys we would like to see do this, right? Like having Raekwon on, Scooter and Barbie on, Aquemini was a big that was fun, right? So for me, I appreciated that. But there's also people that are like, hey, yeah, we appreciate it. But there's also this part of like, it was the people that were like bad faith, don't really listen to rap, whatever. Like they were like, I'm sick of him, and they're also like, yeah, I don't give a fuck about no Nas. I'm like, you don't hear whatever. Okay, fine. Like
You
Nas ain't like okay. But anyway, so to see flash forward, I've always heard that coming up down here, right? And I always thought like I just like, it's similar to the wrestling. I just like good rap.
Mm-hmm.
It could be Pastor Troy. it could be Goody Mob. It could be UGK. I don't give a fuck. If it sounds good and I like it, I'm gonna play it. I don't care where it's from. It could be Tupac. It could be that. It could be Snoop. Whatever. I don't care where it's from. So, it was just weird to go from that to the internet age, where, like, as I mentioned, people were sick of him that are in my age range, that saw him at an age where, like, we're like 10. Imagine you get that feedback loop from people our age, and then younger people, right? Like, yeah. I don't know what Daniel's relationship to Jay-Z is, outside of just like, oh, you know, really good, but like, I don't know if he's ever heard the Black Album in its entirety. I don't know if he's ever heard the Blueprint in its entirety. I don't know if he's ever. Reasonable doubt. Nah, I have no idea. So I'm sure he hasn't, if he hasn't heard those two. But so you hear that feedback loop, and then obviously the sound evolves, the game has evolved. What Jay-Z and what he was trying to accomplish as far as acclaim, fame, status, or whatever else, those objectives have all changed. Jay-Z was really good at as a Ruthless Capital, trying to game the system to have it all, sell a bunch of records, and also critical acclaim, right? That changed, and we saw that with the streaming stuff. We saw that with the mixtape game going crazy, and it changed. So then people grew up on different set of objectives for what makes you a legend, what makes you a star, and they go back and they're like, what? So they're disconnected from what Jay-Z's greatness was, right? So then you have these conversations about like verses, and there's 20 different rappers apparently that will watch Jay-Z in a verse.
Everyone can beat Jay-Z, James.
Everyone. Migos could beat him in a Takeoff by himself could beat him in a
Future killing Jay-Z.
I take back I forgot the RP take. I'm sorry. Offset could take out anybody in a verse. He could take out Jay-Z in a verse, right? By himself. And I'm just like, all right, man. And obviously, and it's not a real place. People just getting off nasty shit or whatever else. People trying to get they pennies and cents from Elon's Twitter, fucking blue check. But then you have the Hive extremists. I identify as a Hiver as well, but I'm not a Hive extremist, right? Like like as you mentioned, the LeBron, Beyonce made up a fair thing, and they talk about Blue Ivy, who looks more like Jay-Z than Beyonce, being LeBron's child, which is fucking absurd, right? So for me, you have that, and then you have why is Jay-Z always attaching himself to these Beyonce tours? And I just wish Jay-Z's trifling ass could be trusted, so he's not out here, being attached to these tours, so that I can just experience Beyonce. And it's like, so you don't want to open an act? What's wrong with y'all? You want to go to a concert with an opening act? The opening act is so people can show up late, so they can arrive when the main act shows up late.
Foolish.
Like apply that logic to Lauryn Hill. Oh, you don't. Oh, now you want to open the act instead of being there bored for 3, 4, 5 hours. Oh, okay. So anyway, so when people say Jay-Z didn't really have no motion, this, that, and the third, is like, okay. When I saw that shit in the expensive ass tickets for Yankee Stadium in July in New York was gonna be hot as fuck out in an outdoor stadium. When I saw all them tickets sold out twice immediately, and there was a waiting line of over a million people, I was like, oh, this is what real life is. Not the internet.
Yeah.
Right? Now, if you want to go to real nasty, I'll give you another one. Jay-Z adds the extra innings. That also sells out. Now, we have seen in recent memory a lot of these acts put on these showcases in touring or whatever stage presentation they have in recent memory to then highlight and present themselves as, hey, I'm a big enough artist. I got the catalog for it. I got the hits for it. I'm a legacy act. And I'm doing something recently. Hey, whether it was Lil Wayne, whether it was Chris Brown, whether it was Kendrick Lamar, whether it was Usher, it was like, hey, I want a Super Bowl halftime performance. Now, Jay-Z, if he wanted a halftime performance, he can do it because he's on the board for picking it. Now, given what next year is, I don't know who's coming out to go get that. I mean, everybody eventually knows Taylor Swift's going to have one of these, but it's like, hey, what if Jay-Z want to be real nasty and want to turn up the rock?
Me.
And about
it's like Rockefeller Super Bowl, nigga.
I sold out the Yankee Stadium 3 times. I deserve a Super Bowl halftime show because he does. He's deserved one for years, for decades even.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So
if it happens, I don't care what any of you have to say on Twitter.
Play this segment back. Play all the files.
One of Jay-Z's favorite lines. Men lie, women lie, numbers don't. Now, if you're as high as Jay-Z, you can juke the numbers, right? We've seen Jay-Z juke the numbers, right? With some of these, that pre-sold, what was it, Magna Carta Holy Grail with that pre-sold million record, already platinum shit. Right, we've seen him do nasty stuff. But look, it ain't like he didn't have no motion. People act like he ain't never had no motion. You think Beyonce was getting with a nigga that had no motion?
Outright lies.
You think you idolize somebody that wanted to be with somebody that had no motion? Got cheated on and stayed with him because he had no motion?
Amazing.
What would that mean for your self-esteem if you idolize this woman that's been out here getting dogged out like this? If he ain't no motion. Look, help break Nashley, Young Jeezy, Rick Ross. No motion. Okay, got it. Makes sense.
Rihanna.
Yeah. Makes sense. Yeah.
Kanye West.
Yeah. No motion. None. Makes sense. Legit.
Yeah.
Never thought about it that way, but you're right. Yeah. Y'all got it. Got it.
Have at it. The Jigga Man will remain on top like the sun, as he once said.